Hey everyone, Trevor Daly with MagMod. Hey, I am excited. I have today on How I Shot It, Hannah Bell.
Hey guys. So I'm Hannah Bell. I'm the owner and lead photographer of Southern Belle Photography. I'm based out of the Charlotte, North Carolina area. I capture weddings and portraits. If you want to follow me online, you can find my website is www.southernbellepix.com, and it's also on socials on Southern Belle Pics. So that's on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that fun stuff. So yeah, if y'all like my
I,
images after, go ahead and follow me.
I love it. Hannah, I'm going to bring up your TikTok here as well. I love your personality. You're just such a fun person. And I love how you just jumped right into this too. This is phenomenal because this is what I know people love is when we can just get right into like the images and things like that. So thank you so much for doing that introduction and sharing people where they can find you. So southernbellepix.com and Southern Belle Pics on Instagram and TikTok. Everybody go be sure to follow her. And then Hannah, I know you also do like one-on-one consulting and stuff too. So, um,
Yeah, yeah, I offer in-person and online mentoring for flash and photography. So if you have some questions, I'd love to set up a Zoom call or something. Or if you're in person in North Carolina, I'd love to meet up with you. You can email me at hello@southernbellepix.com or message me on one of my handles.
that's awesome. I love that. In fact, if you give me that information, we'll put it in the caption as well of the YouTube. That way
Um,
you can find it. And so, guys, check out the caption below. And speaking of below, if you have any comments or questions or anything, feel free to put them below. And then, Hannah or myself, somebody at MagMod can help you out. So, with that, Hannah, can we jump right into your images?
we can. Let's do it.
Awesome. Awesome. So this first image, oh, and by the way, I love in every single image we're going to share today, we have a behind the scenes, sometimes a photo, sometimes video, sometimes both. And so what we'll do is we'll share the photo and then we'll go behind the scenes and then we'll go back to the photo towards the end. So this is going to be really cool. I'm really excited about this. And here is the first shot. Hannah, tell us, how did you shoot this?
Yes. Well, for this first photo, it was an engagement session. I was walking around with this couple downtown in a little small town, and they had this cool old movie theater and had these neat lights that were kind of above the entrance. And it looked really cool, but there was also like this guardrail, like right across the front, so it would have like covered their legs, and it was just kind of like
Yeah.
an eyesore. And I was like, I don't like this guardrail, but I love these lights. Like, what can I do to try to, fix this and make them a cool image? So I was like, well, what if I get a mirror and I get my MagMod out and we'll work on this? So I had my assistant hold. I had like an Evolve 200, kind of like an 8200, and I put I think two mag grids on it and a mag sphere and like a quarter CTO gel, and had her use that to light the couple camera right. And then below my lens, I held this little mirror that I keep in my bag just in
Yeah.
case for things like this, and I kind of angled it just right below my lens so that it would help cover up the guardrail but also reflect the lights from the top of the theater ceiling. So you can kind of see the mirror right there a little bit, what it would be like. So I keep that in my bag. And so I adjusted it just right, used my flash to illuminate them. Having those two mag grids helped keep it so that just they were lit. And then you can kind of see here my straight out of camera what it looked like. And so then just in post, I cleaned it up a little bit, took out, the reflections and all that kind of stuff that I took out my actual flash, cleaned
Yeah.
it up so it looked nice and pretty. Obviously, got some symmetry focusing on them, so they loved it, and I like it too. So
I want to go back to, you mentioned the guardrail. There's that big guardrail. That is not an easy guardrail. That's not one of those like, oh, I can just take that out and post or something. It's like, no, this is a thick guardrail.
yeah,
Um,
it's a 50-one.
yeah. And so I love how you use the mirror to basically take that out without even having to worry about it and then get this really cool, you know, neat look where it's like, wow, you got lights on both sides. And you said it was a mag sphere and two mag grids. Is that right? To really focus that light?
Yes, I used two mag grids. I kind of experimented at the time. I think I used one at first, and it had a little bit too much light spill on them. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to need two. So I threw a second one on there, and it was just enough to light them and make it look good. So yeah, sometimes you got to use a little extra. And I like with MagMod that you can stack them with the mag grids. It's so nice.
That
So
is,
it made it a quick and easy shot.
yeah, 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 for sure. I love that. So now, do you keep that mirror with you all the time then? I'm going to ask as many questions as I can right when you drink water.
That's good. Yes, I actually do. It's in the top of my camera bag. My camera bag has like one of those like Pelican cases, and
Yeah.
like it has a a sleeve thing in the top that you can slide in flat things. And so I have that in there. I have like some glitter paper that I pull out for like ring shots and like some
Yeah.
gels, various things that are flat that I could maybe use as a backdrop or different things like that for small details and things. And my mirror is one of those things that I'll keep in there because you never know. I mean, I've seen some people do reflection shots like with their phone and tilt it just right. But with me, I have a harder time with the phone. I've had like cracks in my screen or like somebody texts me in the middle of a shot and the screen come on or whatever. So I just think it's easier to have an actual mirror and stick
I,
it in there.
I think that's a great idea. I actually need to get one and throw in my bag because you're right. I've tried to use my phone, and also I have to always take my case off because it has to be like smooth. And then I take my case off, and I'm so afraid I'm going to drop my phone and all this stuff. So I love that. Such an easier way. Get a 50-cent mirror and throw it in there. So
Love,
awesome, good stuff. Love it, Hannah.
wonder.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's
thank you.
tell us about this next shot. I know this is one that we threw up on Instagram with some reel about maybe 2 weeks ago. But I
Yeah.
love it because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the reason we popped it up there was because you were using the new XL.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes,
tell us
I
about
was.
this.
I it was one of the first ones to be able to kind of beta test it, and so I was like, I got to use this on this next session. I was so excited about it because you can actually use the XL with some larger strobes. Like for this one, I actually had it in 8600,
Okay.
and so I have that camera right, lighting them. Yeah, there you go. You can see it. So I've got the XL on there, and then the bigger mag sphere on there as well, lighting them, and then kind of got the cool reflection. So I didn't have to pull out a mirror, just use the the window that was already there to get some reflection and add some interest to it.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is a little clip. I don't know if it'll play or not, but
Yeah.
you can see a little bit of me doing that. And you can see that I have like a mag sphere on my camera, but I'm not actually shooting with it. I had it on there just in case I needed to use on camera flash, but I didn't actually use it for this particular image.
Gotcha. So basically, your flash on camera wasn't actually even firing. It was just basically being a master controlling the other flash. Is that right?
Yes, yes. I usually keep like a V1 on my camera. I like its layout and everything. I think it's easier to be able to control other flashes
Yeah.
as a trigger. And so yeah, I just used it as a master and had it on there.
Very
But
cool.
yeah, so I love the new XL stuff. It's really cool.
That's awesome. I love it. I've been enjoying it just for the portability sake of it, and I honestly I love that little case. Maybe I throughout my life needed to carry around more purses or something, but I I love the little case and on shoots as opposed to bringing like something big with me. I love just putting. I've even been putting the core products in that little small MagMod case, so it works out really good. But
Yeah, I really love the little case too because there's like not a whole lot of modifiers that you can use on a larger strobe like the 8600
sure,
that aren't bulky.
yeah,
So this is one that isn't bulky that you can easily throw in and have something to go, and I
yeah.
really liked it.
Well, it's a beautiful shot. Thank you so much for sharing that. This one's super creative too. I love you got the color of this tree like matches her dress. That's really really cool. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, so this was a recent maternity session. Obviously, if you can't tell, they're having a little girl. And
Wow.
I wanted to incorporate that a little bit more in there besides just the color of her dress and
Uh-huh.
everything. So that tree isn't actually pink. It's actually a willow tree, but I used a gel to make it appear pink. So for this one, it was kind of like a two light setup. Actually, I guess it's three because I actually have two flashes inside my mag box
Okay.
lighting them. So I think I have like two 8200s inside my mag box. Um, and then I have my assistant over here. You can kind of see that she's got a a pink mag gel in there as well as a mag grid to kind of help focus it and not let the light spill onto the couple, and then a mag sphere to soften it just a little bit. So she's pointing that at an angle where it's just hitting the tree branches, and then I have the mag box angled so it's just lighting the couple, and so
Nice.
that way I kind of frame them within it a little bit so that I was looking through the branches until there was a spot where I could frame them well and get it where there was the color on the tree branches but not on them, and it kind of adds some more extra pop of color on there. I love
Yeah.
color. I love adding that with the mag gels. It's an easy way to impress clients too because they're like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? I'm like, it's a mag gel, but you
Yeah.
don't need
Yeah.
to
No, it is. It is. No, you're right though. It is fun when you actually shoot it and then you show the clients afterwards and they're like, Wait, that color wasn't here. That's not on the wall.
Yeah.
This is so interesting. I would have never thought that a green tree, a leaf like that, would take in that color so well. Um, I guess I just was thinking like, oh, green and pink. I would have immediately thought like it's going to mix. It's going to create some other color or something like that. But man, that looks really good. And I like how even though it's like daylight outside, how you darkened it down and use that light to really just draw attention to them. Super cool.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'll even if there's a little bit of light left or whatever, you can definitely dial down your settings to make it appear darker, and then just you focusing on your light and letting that illuminate your subject instead of doing it more natural light way. So that's kind of what I did here. It was kind of getting to it like a dusk point, like it was starting to get dark, but it wasn't as dark as it appears in this image. So I just kind of dialed it back a little bit, and it made it work.
That's nice. Hannah, do you remember? Did you use any kind of grid on your softbox, or was it just a diffusion panel?
I think it was just the diffusion panel. I didn't have a grid on it.
Cool. I love that. So cool. Such a pretty shot. And I love these kind of like I call them the peeping tom shots, where I'll even tell the couple, I'll be like, "Look, I'm hiding behind these trees, so don't worry about looking at me. I'm just playing peeping tom." It's even more
Yeah.
awkward when they're like, look at you, and you're like, "Oh shoot, they caught me. I'm hiding behind the trees." So I love how you have them kind of just in their little moment there, and yeah, the three of them. I love it.
Yeah, I like looking for things that you can like shoot through to frame them to make it look a little bit different. Because once you start thinking about, okay, what can I shoot through to frame things to make it more interesting, you spot a lot more things that you're like, okay, yeah, if I look at it this way, it'll be more unique and different instead of just your straight on, I took a
Yeah.
picture kind of shot.
You're really good at that, Hannah. I've noticed a lot of your photos, whether it be shooting through playground equipment or bike racks or trees, whatever. I noticed that you're really good at finding things like that to kind of shoot through and frame your clients. It's something I see consistently in a lot of the work that you submit. So good
Yeah,
stuff.
well, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Uh, Talk about unique and different. Tell us about this one. I love it.
This one, I love this one. I was teaching a lighting workshop and I was trying to demonstrate some stuff for the attendees. But this is a long exposure shot. So this is a one flash, but then I used a like an LED light wand for all those swirls. So this is a 5 second long exposure.
Okay.
So I had somebody holding, I think it was an 8200 with one or two mag grids, camera left. Um, Facing it right toward the bride, or our model bride in this
Okay.
case, and have her stay still. I have my camera on a tripod, and yes, that is actually me running around like crazy with a light wand, making those swirls, and then coming back to check on the camera and seeing the straight out of camera image. So
Yeah.
yeah, I set it up. There's a straight out of camera image. You can kind of see it. So yeah, with a 5 second long exposure, that's enough time that the flash can freeze her in motion in that one spot, and then moving around with the light string kind of leaves that mark, and then you can kind of see that there was a gap in the straight out of camera where there wasn't any light because I didn't want to hit the person holding the flash with my light wand.
Sure.
And so from a different shot, I pulled in a little piece of light to kind of cover that one little spot.
That makes
But
sense.
yeah, yeah, and once we edited it, kind of pulled down some of the shadows and stuff. It looks really cool and makes something that you're not going to see every day. And I love that. I like those shots that are unique and different and colorful, kind of that vibrant feel. And so I feel like we achieved that with this one.
Yeah. You know what I love about it too is by using those grids, because I didn't realize until we were talking about it just now how small that room is, like the ceiling and stuff. And so using those grids, you were able to really get that light on her without it bouncing off that. It looks like a white ceiling above her. Is that right?
Yeah, it was kind of a light textured ceiling. And like
Mm,
I left a little bit on the ceiling where you could kind of see a little bit of the light trail because even though we were using some grids, it still trailed a little bit onto the ceiling. But I was okay with that. I didn't think it took away from the image. But yeah, that was part of what I was trying to teach the attendees at this point was like you can use literally any room. Like this was during the day. We just turned off the lights in this
yeah,
room. There wasn't a lot of space for us to do other stuff. We couldn't go outside and try to take pictures. It wasn't a good thing for that. But it was like, okay, we've got a small room and we can still create an amazing picture like this. So like even in a small space, you can do some pretty awesome things if you kind of think creatively and plan out. And like for this, I had to do a little bit of planning. I had to bring my tripod.
Yeah.
Not everybody brings a tripod with them to a shoot, but if you're going to do something like this, it's good to think ahead and try to put that in there just in case.
I want to go back to your video real quick. One, because I want to see you run around like you were there, um, with the light one. But I also want to just show. Let's see if we can pull this one more time here. Are you gonna let me play? Let's see here. There it goes. So you had a 5 second, you said, and you ran around. You got your light wand, and then they have a
Yes.
grid, and then the camera. Your camera over here, you have a flash on it, but that obviously it wasn't firing, right? That was just again acting as kind of more of a master.
Yes. Yeah. I
Got
was
it.
using it as a map.
Nice. So cool. Love it. By the way, which I know this is gonna be a question that's gonna pop up in the comments unless we answer it now. Do you remember which light wand you're using to get those different colors?
I don't remember. It was one I found on Amazon. It was one that was fairly cheap. I feel like it was 20
Okay.
bucks maybe. It might have been 30. It wasn't like some major crazy one. It was just one that as you push the button, it will change the colors. And so you can kind of tell in there like where I pushed the button to change the color as I was going along. Like I could have just left it on green the whole time, but I chose to like change the color as I was going along. I mean, there's some out there that are really nice where you can pre-program certain color things and do
Yeah.
different stuff. And there's a lot of people who do a lot more with long exposure images and that kind of thing. But I just got a cheap one, and it's enough that it fits in my bag with my light stands, so I can take it to any wedding. And every once in a while, if I have a couple that's willing to go outside and do a long exposure, I'll do that. But once you're at a wedding, sometimes people are just like, "Peace, I'm enjoying my reception." But
Yeah.
every once in a while, you
Totally.
get a couple.
Well, what's nice about the cheap ones is if something happens to it, it's like, $20. I already got enough use out of it. But if it's $300, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Good stuff. Good stuff. What about this one? This is a really cool image too.
Yes, yes. This was a recent one that I really love. This was actually their 1 year anniversary, and they didn't enjoy that their wedding portraits. They had booked somebody else for their wedding, and they're like, we really want to do some couples portraits that are unique and different, and something that we can really treasure. So that for this one, we'd already done a bunch of other shots. This was near the end of the shoot. We'd done some with natural light, some with flash, that it looked more natural. This one was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, we want to do some kind of silhouette, something a little bit different. And so I'll do two different kinds of silhouettes. I'll do one where I have the flash point behind them at like maybe a wall or something, and that kind of creates more of like your typical silhouette where their profile is kind of blacked out and there's more
Yeah.
light behind them. Or this one that's more of a rim light kind of silhouette where I have the flash actually pointing toward their backs, and
Yeah.
so it illuminates just the edge. And so this one is the one that I'll use if I don't have a wall or something like that behind them. And that's what I did here is I had a flash behind them and I put a blue mag gel on it. And I think a mag sphere 2 on it as well to kind of spread it a little bit. And I have it about chest height. You can see just a tiny bit of it near their chest where it's a little bit brighter at that one point, and had it aimed up just slightly so that it would get a little bit more of their faces. Um, and then I had I was using, I think, an 70 to 200 lens and kind of zooming in. And then I have some fairy lights that again, that I throw in my bag. It's one of my kind of extras to make fun shots that I held, excuse me, in front of the lens and kind of just moved them just right to try to get a little bit of bokeh in there, a little bit more interest to it. So they would be off to the side and kind of get them in that third. And I don't know if you can really tell from the screen or not, but there's actually a mountain back there. It's Pilot Mountain, which is kind of a popular photo spot here in North Carolina. And you can see a little bit of it in the background, depending on what the brightness of your screen is. But they could see it, and they were like, "Oh, that's awesome," because it incorporated where they were, and got the cool bokeh in there, and them as well.
Yeah, you can definitely. I know from my screen, you can definitely see the mountain back there. So I would think that in fact, the bokeh of the fairy lights, it kind of reminds me a little bit of almost like city lights, sort of kind of background. It looks really cool, and I like even the contrast of colors, the blue and the warmth. I've mentioned that a lot on this show, and yeah, and even that little sliver of light on her face, it just adds a little bit of kind of extra oomph to that shot. Really, really pretty.
Yeah, it gives it a little bit more emotion when you can see just a little bit of their face. That's one thing that I feel like you lose when you do a silhouette where you just point the flash like at an object behind them and you just get the profile is you really can't see their expression very much. And so like with these kind of rim lighted silhouettes, you can see a little bit more. And so it tells a little bit of more of a story sometimes, unless you have them posed just right with their silhouette, which is possible. It just can be a little bit more challenging to get a creative silhouette with it pointing backwards toward a wall or something. Um, but
Nice.
yeah, and that was like you mentioned, kind of complementary colors. That's why I picked blue for this one. Is I knew I had those kind of orange fairy lights, and I was like, well, I want it to look good, kind of weigh it out a little bit, have that warmth versus the cool, and I feel like it works. I like it. Mm.
It does. It definitely does work. What is these? Are these fairy lights? Is this another one of your things that you put in that bag of tricks with the mirror and everything else?
It
Yeah.
is. It's another one that's small enough that fits in that little sleeve with my mirror, and I keep back there because it is. It's something really easy. It's battery powered, so you
Yeah.
just flick it on, and it's a little strand, and it helps add a little bit of oomph sometimes to some couples' pictures. And again, it's a really simple thing that will make couples be like, "Oh, wow, I didn't see. Oh, that's amazing." My cousin's pictures don't look like that. I'm like, yeah, they don't.
That's cool. That's really cool. Love it. Love it. Hannah, this next shot is it's a groom shot, which I love when the groom allows us to make some really cool, dapper, handsome shots of them, and this definitely nailed that. So tell us about this shot here.
Yeah, for this shot, um, well, it wasn't an exciting room, first of all. I mean, I feel like a lot of times groom prep isn't in a very exciting room. And usually with groom prep, you get a lot of stuff laying all over a guy's just kind of being chaotic. And so I was like, well, how can I try to make a fun shot in here that focuses on the groom, a cool portrait, but without getting all this clutter in here? So I was like, well, they've got this cool mirror. If I dial down my settings so that it makes the room appear dark, then I can focus on my flash and just illuminating him. And I was like, well, what if I kind of experimented a little bit first because I was trying to get it where I could illuminate him in the mirror, but without the light casting it in the wrong spots and everything. So I figured out that if I put a flash to the left of the mirror pointing toward him, and I can't remember if I had a grid, I feel like I had at least one grid on it, that
Okay.
it would focus on him without getting the rest of the room with the clutter lit up. And then I kind of had him, mess with his cuff, mess with his watch a little bit, kind of posed him, put him in an angle where I could see his reflection in the mirror. And then I kind of shot through some of those moments of him doing his cuffs, doing his watch, that kind of thing. And I got this one, which I think is an awesome moment because of how I got some framing with getting his arm and stuff in there, and
Yeah.
then get to see him actually in focus in the mirror that tells a little bit more of a story. Um, that I really liked, and I got in just the right spot where you couldn't see me in the mirror, but I could see him, and it made a fun shot that he could cherish, from just getting ready. And even though it was in a crowded room, one light could do that really quick.
This goes back to what we were talking about, the framing part. And you got a couple frames here. You got the frame of his arm and his chest, like you were mentioning, and then you got the frame of the mirror. It's like you got all these different frames, the sub framing going on, which is one of my favorite compositional rules. It's just so pretty. And then not only that, but then you got him over in that top third corner, that little
Yeah.
intersection point. So a lot really works here, and I absolutely love it. I love the lighting as well. Super
Well,
cool.
thank you. I
I think
appreciate it.
this is what it looked like behind the scenes. Huh? You're
Yeah.
right, not an exciting room.
Yeah, not super exciting, and there was more clutter that I didn't take a picture of.
What?
um,
And it looks like
yeah,
there's a trash bin and maybe a refrigerator right to the left there too. Maybe I can't tell what that
yeah.
is.
Yeah, you can see a little bit in the mirror. I think there was some stuff on like a counter, and like, there was things around. Like I said, if you shoot weddings enough, usually like the bridal suite and the groom suite, they can be messy places unless you go through and you move all the shoes and all the stuff, all the water bottles that people bring, all their Stanley cups, and all
Yeah,
the stuff, and move it to the side to really create a space. And so with this kind of dialing in down the settings so that it made the room appear darker, and then just using the flash to illuminate him, it kind of naturally hid that. And so I was able to get a cool shot that way.
I love that. I love that. And this next shot is actually it's kind of similar in a sense that you kind of did the same thing where you darken things down, but this time it's with the bride. Tell us about this beautiful shot.
Yes, for this one, it was actually some bridal portraits. We'd done some that were more natural. She had wanted something that was more of a classic feel, and so we tried several different ones. But I pulled out my Magbox Pro, I think my 42 inch, because usually the larger the light source, the softer it's going to be.
Mm,
Yeah, so there's the BTS, the behind the scenes of it, and so you can see I have my seamless gray back there. We had done some where you could actually see the gray a little bit more, and I have the flash facing her, kind of coming toward me a little bit, so it would give just a tiny bit of a rim light to her, and just be able to focus a little bit more on just that one part and make it a little bit more visually interesting. And so, like from the position you can see in the behind the scenes, I just had her, turn to her right just a little bit, turn her face a little bit more toward the light, and then I had her grab the edge of her veil and kind of just go back and forth a little bit, telling her to look down, giving a soft little smile. And so she just go back and forth so I can get a little bit of movement and
yeah.
shooting through those moments until I got what I liked. So it would be dramatic, but also kind of classic and sophisticated at the same time. And she really liked it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful shot. Actually, this shot it reminds me of one of my favorite art words. Now, I never went to art school, but one of my favorite art words is the word chiaroscuro. Chiaroscuro is an Italian word, and I don't know if you're familiar with it or have heard of it, but it means light dark. And so,
Mm-hmm.
who was the painter? I can't remember his name now. But there's a famous painter, Caravaggio. Caravaggio. So Caravaggio, when he would always paint, he would do paintings of chiaroscuro. And whenever I'm photographing brides, if I can find situations like you created here, with being able to use either window light or like use the softbox and be able to create that kind of cool chiaroscuro where you have light and dark, that cool contrast, they're always some of my favorite shots, and this is absolutely beautiful. I can't imagine any bride that would be like so excited about having a beautiful shot like this. So
Yeah, yeah. I like that contrast too, and just adding a little bit of drama, the good kind of drama. I feel like in images, not the spill the tea kind of drama. But I love that kind of drama in photography and art, where you kind of get those two extremes and kind of juxtaposing those a little bit, and it just makes it more visually interesting instead of just the straightforward shot of just her standing there.
I totally agree. I need to remind myself to do it more often because I think sometimes you get kind of stuck like where you're like, oh, I'm just gonna just put this together
Yeah.
really quickly. You have to remind yourself like, oh, get a little creative, put that softbox at 2 o'clock. What's really funny is if you have an assistant that's never shot with you and they're not super familiar with that style, and you're like, wait, take the softbox and go over there, and they're like, wait, over there? Like you want to be on the other side of that? You're like, yeah, just go over there, I promise. So
Yeah, I promise I'm not crazy. I mean, crazy in a good way, hopefully. But
exactly,
yeah, I
exactly.
feel you because sometimes, like, I mainly have the same assistants at this point, but I have had a few that are newer, and like they do give you that kind of look, and you're like, "What are you thinking?" And then when you show them the end shot, they're like, "Okay, now I get
Yeah,
it."
exactly. Hannah, this has been awesome. I love chatting with you. I wanted to bring up your website one more time because there's actually a few images on here. Let's see if I can cycle through that I know we've talked about. Like this one, I remember we talked about in a previous episode of how I shot it. And so, guys, if you want to go check out more of Hannah's work and some of the stuff that she even talked about in a previous episode, I think it was a couple years ago. I want to say that we spoke.
About 2 years ago, I think was
That's
the last
yours.
time we did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So go check that out as well, and you'll be able to find out some more images, some really cool stuff that Hannah shared. I always enjoy these conversations, Hannah. Like I said, you have such a fun personality. I think you did an April Fool's joke that totally got me. I think you're getting into comedy or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, there's a last April Fools. I told everybody that I was going to become a stand-up comedian, and you need to come book tickets on my next show and everything. And I had a lot of people go for it.
I
And
was
then like
ready to buy tickets.
this whole video, and they're like, "Doggone!"
Yeah, no, I was ready to do it because you had like a whole like it looked like you shot profile pictures for it, so it was really funny. I loved it. So, but guys, go check her out again. Southernbellepics.com, and then her Instagram is the same, southernbellepics.com or southernbellepic, and then of course TikTok as well. If you're on TikTok, go give her a follow and go check her out. She has some not just photography stuff, but also some personal stuff on there that I think you're just sharing your life, which I think is a big part of the business, right? If a business is about you and sharing, it's like a good opportunity to share with other people as well. So
Yeah, definitely. I feel
Good.
like a lot of times when you're like a solo entrepreneur, it is you're selling your personality and not just your work as well. So I do add a lot of personal stuff on Instagram, like especially on stories, with the regular things as well as like on TikTok, because people want to know you as a person if that's who they're booking.
I love that. I love that. I've even seen you've even been pretty vulnerable about like your health journey and things like that, like even sharing and which I think is just awesome. So it's inspiring for a lot of people. Good
Well, thank
stuff.
you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hannah, this has been fun. Thank you so much for taking the time today to chat with me and share about your images again, now I need to go and find mirrors and fairy lights and everything, go put in my bag so I'm ready for my next shoot. But
Exactly.
I,
All the things in there, all the extra little fun stuff.
yeah, totally, totally. I really appreciate this time and yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for having me, and I hope this helps some people a little bit. And you guys can reach out if you have any questions.
I love that. Guys, if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to Hannah directly, like she said, or if you have any comments or anything and you want to leave in the comments below, feel free to do that there. We always are on top of those and check those. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to put it there, and that way people can see the answers and stuff. Myself or Hannah, I can let you know if I see anything in there as well. And then, of course, if you are catching this episode for the first time and you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the MagMod channel because we do these How I Shot It's pretty frequently, about every week or two. And we bring on some of the world's best photographers like Hannah to come and talk about some of our images and share some of their tips and tricks behind the scenes so we can see how they're creating it and then inspire us to go do something similar. So thank you again, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Hannah, you're awesome. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, no problem. We'll see you guys later.
All right, take care. And I was like, take care. And then I couldn't find the cut button.